Hey folks, Jeff Thidoff, Tito here with the Buckeye Blitz. Thanks for tuning in. Follow me on Twitter @ThitHappens, THIT, @ThitHappens. I want to talk about Ohio State basketball first here. OSU men's basketball program has a chance for a very significant win on the road on Saturday. They take on Wisconsin in Madison. Ohio State comes into the game at 14-6 overall, 6-4 in the Big Ten. The Badgers are 15-6, 7-3. They're right next to each other in a lot of the rankings. A lot of the bracketologists have them right close to each other. Wisconsin barely ahead of Ohio State in the Big Ten. This would be a big win for Ohio State. The Badgers are 11-2 at home this season. So if the Buckeyes can get this kind of win the last day of January, it would be significant. The Buckeyes right now are 5-3 in the month of January. If you've been following the Buckeyes the last few years, you know January is typically hell. They've gone 8-17 the last 3 Januaries. The last time they had a winning record in the month of January, 2021-2022 season, they're 5-3 now. Got a chance to be 6-3. It'll be a big win for Ohio State. Last game for Ohio State, they won 84-78 over Penn State. Junie Mobley, he's been on fire lately. Last 4 games, he scored 101 points. That's 25.2 per game, and he's 20 for 43 on 3-pointers, 46.5%. So in that game against Penn State, Ohio State got some bench production. Tayson Chapman played his first real significant minutes of the season, had 11 points. Puff Johnson, the newly eligible Puff Johnson, he scored 2. That's 13 points to the bench. And there's been a couple of games this year where the bench has scored 0. That's why this is significant. They had stretched recently like 5 games where they averaged less than 5 points a game from the bench. If they want to be successful, they have to have bench production. Not just for the NCAA tournament if they get there. Think about the Big Ten tournament. When you do, like in the NCAA tournament, you play, then you get a day off. In the Big Ten tournament, it's day, all the way to the end. There's games every day, and you don't get a game off after you've played a game. You know, you might get a couple of buys, you might get a double bye in the tournament, but you're not going to have a day off after you win one of the games next to them. So it's very important to have the bench doing something there. Wisconsin, on their hand, by the way, in that game also I want to tell you that Bruce Thornton was the 5th leading scorer for Ohio State. The 5th leading scorer. He's a stud. If you win a game when Bruce Thornton is your 5th leading scorer, that's a damn good win right there for Ohio State. So we'll see what happens on Saturday there. Wisconsin, John Blackwell scored 23 points in their most recent victory. He's leading the way for them. For the last 10 games, I say. He's averaged almost 16 points a game in the last 10 games, but Nicholas Boyd is the leading scorer. He is averaging 20 points and over 3.5 assists per game for the Badgers. The one guy I'm worried about for Wisconsin is Nolan Winter. Nolan Winter leads Wisconsin with 8.6 rebounds per game, and he's 7 feet tall, 235 pounds, and not afraid to step outside behind the arc and shoot from there. Ohio State had a hard time with that against Illinois earlier in the season. So they need to find a way to, keep them off the boards when Ohio State's taking shots, keep them off the boards there and try to get some offensive rebounds, but also have to watch him outside. They've got to have a game plan to stop him. I know that I just said Boyd's their leading scorer, 20 points. Blackwell's averaging almost 16 points for the last 10 games, but Nolan Winter is one that really concerns me. I want to make sure that they keep him in check and keep him from taking advantage of Ohio State. Last 10 games, the Badgers are 8-2. Ohio State 6-4. And there'll be a lot of points scored in this game. They're both averaging over 80 points a game, allowing over 70. So I don't expect like a big defensive game in this one. It's 2 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday, Badgers and the Buckeyes. Let's switch sides over to the women now. In the most recent bracketology there on ESPN, Ohio State is number 3 seed. The women took care of the Badgers. They did their part. In Columbus, Thursday, 81-58. The Buckeyes improved to 19-3 overall, 8-2 in the Big Ten. They're ranked 11th in the country. Jelani Cambridge, she scored 21 over 29 points after halftime. And it was a big win for Ohio State. They've won 5 straight against Wisconsin. They're dominating the series 57-18. And Cambridge scored 13 points in the last 4 minutes, 18 seconds of the third quarter. And that's really what they had a lead, then almost 20 point, 18-point lead is what they had at that point. To push lead to 18, and then obviously win 81-58. Ohio State did what Ohio State does. They forced 25 turnovers. It's different personnel every year, same style of game. Kevin McGuff knows what the hell he's doing. The Buckeyes host Nebraska on Sunday. I say that Kevin McGuff knows what he's doing. I do believe it. I believe in him as a coach. I think he's great. But he's going to have to find a way to beat some big name teams. Now, they did beat TCU. That was a big win earlier. about a week and a half ago, I guess it was, whatever it was, when they beat TCU on a neutral site game. The 3 losses, though, Ohio State's had are to UConn, UCLA, and Iowa. Those 3 teams are combined 58-3. Granted, if they want to cut down the nets or make it the Final Four, they're going to have to beat a team like that at some point. But Ohio State, though, that's their only 3 losses this year. They're winning all the games they're supposed to win. A 3 seed, getting to host the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament in Columbus would be huge. All right. We'll switch gears to football real quick. Wrap things up talking about the Ohio State hire of Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator position filled by Arthur Smith, former Steelers offensive coordinator, former Falcons head coach. And there were a lot of people on social media questioning this hire because Pittsburgh's offense the last few years hasn't been anything outstanding. Been very average, very mediocre. Look at the quarterbacks they had to work with, though. You're talking about, Aaron Rodgers was good this year. Wasn't elite, but he was good. But before you had you had Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, who they pulled the plug on way too quickly, by the way. That's for a Steelers podcast. But they should have given him more of a chance. Keep playing instead of benching him and bringing Russell Wilson after 6 games when Fields was 4-2. We had Mason Rudolph, right? Kenny Pickett, guys like that. Nobody that was elite. And the Steelers' offensive line has been very suspect. The Steelers are about middle of the pack in offense this past year. I think they were 15th maybe in yards produced by the offense. In the way the NFL is set up, mediocrity is what's preferred. That everyone's kind of equal on talent. Everyone, they should. Sorry, Browns fans. Most teams are. You're not going to, most weeks, you won't have a huge advantage over the other team if everyone's healthy and teams spend their money right and develop right. So I've said this before about guys who take jobs with Ohio State. Almost every week, and the schedule's going to be tougher this year for Ohio State. By the way, they open up as a 2.5-point underdog to Texas. The schedule's going to be tougher for Ohio State this year. Nonetheless, more often than not, Arthur Smith is going to have a very sizable advantage with the offensive talent he's got versus the defensive talent he's facing. Matt Patricia, the same way. Before that, Chip Kelly. Before that, Jim Knowles. Your side of the ball is going to have a lot more talent most games than the other team. So, and people are like, oh, Arthur Smith wasn't that good at Pittsburgh. Why would we bring Arthur Smith? Listen, Arthur Smith's a former head coach in the NFL. So is Chip Kelly. So is Matt Patricia. They did okay here. They did really well here, actually. With Chip Kelly, they won a natty. Not too bad. Matt Patricia had a fantastic defense last year. Fantastic defense last year. I'm okay. And, Arthur Smith, even if I didn't believe in Arthur Smith, I believe in Ryan Day making the right choice. I believe Ryan Day brings in the right people. He hasn't had many terrible hires, has he? Many bad hires? Many mediocre hires? He does pretty well with this. I don't know if Arthur Smith's here just as a temporary stop back in the NFL. Matt Patricia, we don't know yet. Matt Patricia's not made an announcement yet on if there's been no announcement saying whether he is definitively back or definitively gone. The further we get into this offseason, I think he's probably here, which I hope. But I have very little doubt that Arthur Smith is going to do anything but great things at Ohio State with this offense. It's going to be tougher next year. I've said all along that Ohio State could lose 2 games this year. At Texas, it's going to be tough. At Indiana, it's going to be tough. At Iowa's always tough. You still got USC on the road. You've got Michigan. Always a game. Always an important game. Always a tough game there. So there's a chance they could lose 2 or 3. I still think they're in the playoffs, but it's going to be a test for Matt Patricia if he's still here. It will be a test for Arthur Smith, but I have very little doubt. Gotta be careful how I say this. Very little doubt that the offense is going to skip a beat next year under Arthur Smith. All right, that's it for me. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. I appreciate it. @FitHappens, where you can find me. This has been the Buckeye Blitz on FanStream Sports.